Well, take a look at this home in Laurel Canyon. This is the Harry Houdini estate at 2400 Laurel Canyon Boulevard. It's a fascinating home in an area that's world famous for the eclectic personalities that have lived here. Kind of like the mysterious magician himself, there's been some confusion, maybe you could even say sleight of hand, about where Houdini actually lived in Laurel Canyon. This estate was built in the early 20th century by department store owner Ralph M. Walker, who was a good friend of the magician. According to Houdini historian John Cox, when the illusionist came to Hollywood in 1919 with his wife Bessie to film a couple of movies, he was believed to have rented his friend's guest house directly across the street on the west side of Laurel Canyon. Walker named that guest house Houdini House. The homes were actually connected by tunnels and elevators underneath the canyon, which allowed the master of illusion to secretly pass between the two homes. And he was believed to have spent a lot of time at his friend's mansion here on the east side of the canyon, not only swimming in the pool, but also practicing his famous underwater escapes there, too. According to Houdini's Ghost.com, after the magician's untimely death in 1926, his widow returned to the guest house on the west side of the street, lived there for a few years, and she's said to have held at least one seance there where she tried to contact her dead husband's spirit. In the summer of 1935, she used Walker's home here on the east side to throw a cocktail party for some 500 magicians, and it was around this time that the press and the public in general began mistakenly referring to Walker's mansion as the Houdini House. Later that year, Walker passed away. Both homes will be sold. This home will be bought and sold by a couple of colorful characters in their own right, like an evangelist who turned this into a church called the Temple of Yahweh, and someone who later wanted to turn it into a girls' school. But in 1959, both homes were destroyed in a terrible fire that wrought a lot of damage in the Bucolic Canyon. The land where Houdini and Bessie actually lived was leveled to widen the street. The ruins of this home sat vacant for decades, but drew hippies and ghost hunters who only added to the Houdini legend of the property. Now fast forward to the modern day, where it was bought by Jose Luis Nazar, who painstakingly restored the home to its original glory, swimming pool and all. And it looks like it's available to be rented out for film shoots, weddings, and other events. TheHoudiniEstate.com for more info on that, as well as a tour of the property. Kind of a fitting metaphor that the home known as the Houdini Estate wasn't actually owned or occupied by the legendary magician, but an interesting story nonetheless. Thanks to KCalZone and Selmo Perez for telling me to check out the Houdini Estate. Taking a look at this from SkyCal, I'm Desmond Shaw.